we are on board Flight Simulator, the Corsair 28R, for the Fort Lauderdale to Key West race. And this is just the start of the race. There's pretty light air, and this boat just ahead of us is the Sea Cart 30 Sundog, and it's a pretty fast boat. That was the scratch boat in the fleet, and it was pretty much the last we saw of them was right at the start. So we're just coming up to the start line, and up goes the spinnaker. We carried the spinnaker for about the first half of the race. Here we are a little bit later. Wind's picked up a little bit and got the boat moving nicely. And that's the skipper, Tom, on the helm. James trimming the spinnaker, and Bill on the main sheet. Looks like we're just off South Beach there, something like that. We all took turns steering, more of us. Typically for this race, which is about a 15-hour race, we had one person down below sleeping and 3 on deck. So for the first part of this race, we're doing a lot of jibes, getting into staying close into the shore so as to keep out of the Gulf Stream. So we would just stay on port jibe until we felt we were in the Gulf Stream, which is pretty easy to tell from the sea state, the water temperature. Once we felt we were out in the stream, we would do a jibe back in, close into the shore, towards the reef. You can see this spray flying there. We're all, Tom and I are wearing dry suits, which we wore the whole night, pretty much. Here comes another jibe. Continued to pick up a little bit as we went in to the evening. It cleared a little bit, so we were staying fairly deep downwind. We're not reaching here, we're heading deep downwind. Another jibe. You can see the water's a bit calmer here, so we're close into the reef here. As soon as we head offshore a little bit, the wind was northerly, so the Gulf Stream is coming from the south, so it's pretty easy to tell where the reef is from when the sea picks up. We're pretty much doing about 12 to 14 knots during all of this time. And this is all heading deep, as deep as we can downwind to keep our speed up. So it's my turn on the helm. Tom's going to take a rest. He's going to take the main sheet. And here's James back on deck. James only got like 4 hours sleep the night before, so he had a good sleep down there, even though the boat's bouncing around quite a bit. Still moving along pretty well. We didn't change any sails in the early part of the race. Later on, after it was dark, we changed down to the screecher, and we were reaching then. The wind was more from the north, and we were heading more towards the west. So here's one of the big IRC boats just ahead of us. One of many boats that we overtook during that night. They all started like 15-20 minutes ahead of us, and I think we overtook all but, I don't know, 5 or 6 of the bigger boats. Here comes another jibe. I think we did about 15, 20 jibes, something like that. A lot of times when we went close into the reef, we found there was a lot of weed closer in. Several times we had to clear the daggerboard and rudder, but we found it was best to stay at least half a mile off of the reef this race. Sometimes we'll go in, as close as a quarter of a mile off the reef. We're getting into the evening time. You can just see Tom's wearing his ski goggles there. Very appropriate eyewear to wear on this boat, because you can see it's a wet boat. The evening set in, and our course was changing more towards the west, so pretty much stayed on starboard jibe the whole night. As I said, we changed sails several times and ended up down to reef main and jib, close reaching in 30 knots. But the early part of the race was pretty much what you've seen. Unfortunately, it got a bit too dark to continue recording, but I hope that gives you a good flavour of what the race was like.